Darkness and light collide. Two flames burn eternal. From the sacred halls of Freemasonry to the roaring highways of the widow's sons comes a brotherhood forged in truth, honor, and fire. This is no ordinary podcast. This is the voice of the craft, reminding you that the sun never sets on the widow's sons. From the heartland of America, welcome to the Two Burning Tapers podcast with your hosts, Skittles and Gilligan.
Tonight on Two Burning Tapers, we're really honored to welcome a brothers who work has a lot of truly respect within Freemasonry. We're joined by brother Brian or Bird from the Old Fashioned Masonic Podcast. If you spent any time in the Masonic podcast world, you already know how big and impactful his show has become. The Old Fashioned Masonic Podcast has built strong following because it stays rooted in the fundamentals of real Masonry, real conversation, and real accountability. Gilligan and I genuinely are fans of this podcast. We listen, we learn, and we appreciate it. Tonight's conversation is about exactly that. What it really means to make good men better, how Masonry shows up in everyday life, and why staying grounded in the Blue Lodge is the basic skills matters. This isn't about hype or trends. It's about work. So we're proud to have with us tonight, brothers and friends, welcome brother Brian Bird from the Old Fashioned Masonic Podcast. This is Two Burning Tapers.
Woo! You get better and better every week, brother. Better and better every week. Guarantee
Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Man, I was hyping, then I remembered, it's just me. So
yeah, hey, you VIP, brother. You VIP. Very important
Yes,
person. Well, how you doing today, bro?
I'm excited. I'm glad to be on the podcast. We were talking about before we started recording. The cool thing about Masonry is we support each other without anything in return. It's like, hey, can you jump on? Yeah. Hey, well, will you jump on here? Yeah. And at the end of the day, all we're trying to do is put our different faces on Freemasonry, because the days of all old, rich, white guys and they look a certain way, that's a thing of the past. The makeup of Freemasonry is so much more than that. And I love all of the Masonic podcasts and the channels. I think there should be 100 more. So that's 100 more multiples of people that can see us and know that we're just normal dudes. So I'm excited to be on and chop it up with you guys.
That is fantastic,
Awesome.
brother. Fantastic. Nice. Where are you coming from? What state you in right now?
So I'm in Kansas, so you're going to have to talk slow for me to keep up, folks. So
all right. Right. Nice. Where Skittles is in Illinois. I'm in Kentucky and you're in Kansas. So we got a pretty big spread right now. It's definitely a nice spread. How I got a question. How did you find Freemasonry, or how did Freemasonry kind of find you? But if you want to give any backstory of how your life got to there, you can fill that in from that point.
Yeah, sure. So I am not a Masonic legacy, no family.
Okay.
So I don't remember even hearing about it growing up. So it wasn't even a blip on the screen. So when I was in the military, I did see flashes of the square and compasses, and but not a lot. And then when I got out, did some contracting, and then was in the real world doing some other things, and I was just missing the camaraderie of the military. And I saw something where it was maybe Be a Shriner Now or some sort of campaign about Shriners, and I thought, that looks fun. That looks like camaraderie. That looks like fellowship. So I did a little research back in the day with Ask Jeeves. So some of you guys,
Yeah.
So the little butler. So I did some research, got a hold of a lodge. I knew enough at the time that I had to be a Mason to be a Shriner. Got a hold of a lodge, and they did their job. They answered the phone. A few weeks later, somebody showed up at my office. I said, I want to be a Shriner. We had conversation back and forth. They said, okay, well, you'll need to be a Mason. You'll need to join the Scottish Rite. Then you'll need to join the Shrine, write 3 different checks, and
Yep.
we'll call you back. And that was kind of why I sought it out, because I was missing camaraderie from the military. So that takes you up to that point.
Nice. I was gonna say, just with you saying that military background and finding some square and compasses or some light in the military, and then coming out of the military and seeking that. I growing up took took ROTC all the way through high school. I took Air Force. Uh, 97, 98, things started calming down out of the military. They started cutting. You had to have a really good score. I was not of a good math and that type of stuff, so I didn't get a high enough score to kind of get in. But I was looking for that. I was looking for that kind of brotherhood, and I went to Pike School and kind of things like that, and didn't get into the military, but always seeked out that it was my type of life. That's what I was going to do. I was going to retire from it. My little brother got that opportunity. My little brother went to basic. He went to Kokomo, Indiana, and was stationed up there in the reserve in the Air Force. And he come back and he was like, "Hey, do you want to be a Freemason?" I was like, "What? That's kind of random, but I'm
Yeah.
sure. I don't know what it is, but I'll join with you." Because he was like, "Yeah, it kind of has like some brotherhood type of stuff." I some guys that were in the Air Force with me were Masons, and they were just really good guys. And my grandmother was an Eastern Star, so I always knew she went to lodges or chapter meetings and things like that. So it was just really weird. I was searching for the same thing that you were searching for. You got it from the military, and you wanted it. I wanted to get into military to get that, but I found it when I found Freemasonry is the same.
Exactly.
It's really nuts. It's nuts how that happens.
Yeah.
Um, when did you become a Freemason? What year?
2009.
9. So the year
Nice.
that I got married. No, actually, that's the year I met my
Nice.
wife. I got married in 11. So
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you've been a Freemason for quite a long time. I heard you say you had to become Scottish Rite before you become a Shriner. So I'm assuming you are a 32nd degree Scottish Rite.
Yep. So the
Nice.
path that I went was Blue Lodge, Scottish Rite, Shrine, and then somewhere down the road, I don't think I was Master of the Lodge yet, but then I came back around to the York Rite, and so that was kind
Mm.
of my path. And it happens like it's supposed to. And the York Rite, I'm glad I did that when I did, because I had a lot more foundation from the Blue Lodge that was really beneficial in the York Rite for my journey.
Right. Right. Nice. Nice.
And
Yeah.
of
So
those bodies within Freemasonry, is there one that you spend more time in?
It's a great question, and I would say it depends on like the 3-year spots. So I came in with the intention of being a Shriner. I was rolling to be a Shriner. And so I came in, and the guy who top lined me and brought me in, he happened to be Master of the Lodge, coming in to be Master of the Lodge that year. And he said, "Hey, I'm going to put you on our line." I'm like, "I don't know what that means, but I'm down," which was kind of unheard of because of the size of our lodge. We weren't as big as we had been historically at the time, but our lodge had probably 2,700 members at the time, with a waiting
nice.
list, just to be in the study club officers. I somehow weaseled my way into being an officer, and I didn't know what that was. So I started at a Tyler, and then fast forward through, and I was master in 15, which is also very unheard of at our lodge to do that in 6 years. We've never had a recycled master, and still have a waiting list just to be a Tyler. So, but yeah, so to answer your question, I spent a lot of time early in the Blue Lodge. And then about the time I was junior warden, the Shrine started really taking a liking to me, and
Mhm.
they put me on the divan and on membership, and were grooming me to, I can say with confidence on camera, I probably been asked 5 or 6 times to go be OG, to be
Mhm.
potentate. Never gonna
Potentate.
do it. The grand the The Grand Lodge of Kansas would like for me to be the Grand Master. Also not going to happen. I can say it on camera without even any hesitation. Not my thing. But then there were times where I was known as a Blue Lodge guy, and then there was pockets where I was known as a Shrine guy. Never got really involved in the Scottish Rite or the York Rite, but I kind of bounced back and forth between those two bodies. But without the foundation of Blue Lodge, it's all garbage.
Good. You heard it here, fellas. Without the
Yeah.
foundation of Blue Lodge, there is nothing else. Legitimately.
Yeah.
So you can pour as much time as you want into the rest of them, but if you don't go pouring the time at your Blue Lodge, you're not raising the members, you're not bringing the membership in, and you're not creating good men making better men.
Yeah, for sure.
I said it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I said it.
I'm
said
with
it technically. I just repeat it.
If somebody's got something to say, I'm shoulder to shoulder with you on that. I'll debate that with anybody, anytime on a short notice.
Yes. I'm just doubling what you're saying. I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Do I hear any naysayers? I hope not. So 2015, you were master of your lodge. That's funny. 2016, I was master of my lodge.
Yeah. Chasing each other.
I do share also a 2009 date with you. I was raised in 2009 myself as a master mason. I didn't go into shrine until 30s, so it was later. I took a lot of time in Blue Lodge. I just didn't. I was like, man, I know that the shrine is going to take a lot of the time, so I waited. So you are in the shrine, or what kind of clubs are you in the shrine? In the shrine, not shine.
Yeah. So, there's shine there too. When I first
Correct.
joined, there was a unit called a
Nice.
cartoon unit.
Oh,
And
cool.
so they dress as like, here come all the comments. No, we're not furries, but we dress like furries. And I was SpongeBob, and we would go to circuses and parades.
Yes.
It was absolutely awesome. And then the director staff, we call the director staff where we're from. It's the group that puts on the initiations, the second section. And so I like that a lot. Not active in the cartoon unit. A lot of the younger guys came in and did great things. But I'm working on the Motor Patrol now at Midian, and it's a group that has 1949 to 1951 Jeepsters, and it's a pretty good group. Yeah,
Nice.
so
I like Jeeps.
they still got to vote me in.
Hey, vote him in. I give you a yay on my side.
Yeah, I
There
appreciate
you
it.
go.
Was the sand still hot when you went through?
So
Nice.
yeah, it's we were the second to last class. So without going into a lot of detail, yes.
Cool. Nice. Awesome. So you, like Skittles says, you put in more time in your Blue Lodge like you should. I'm gonna say back here, I can tell you since 2009, I've missed maybe 5 meetings from my home Blue Lodge, and that's because of either a sickness or family, or I was just physically not in town. And my lodge meets the first Monday of every month, so you can imagine how many holidays land on the first Monday. I don't care if it's New Year's, we're still having lodge.
Really fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't miss. Our lodge does not miss it. Even if it's Father's Day, we still have lodge.
That's fascinating. Yeah.
Well, that's allowed me to make some of Gilligan's lodge meetings because they've landed on a holiday, and I've been able to beeline it up there and make them, which has been beneficial for me. But being a widow's son, we literally have it in our bylaws that we have a minimum requirement of Blue Lodge meetings that we have to make. I know our chapter is we have to make half our lodge meetings, which encourages, grows, and gets guys, to fundamentally be showing up to their Blue Lodge consistently.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So if you're having 12, if you're having 12 meetings a year, you got to make 6. If you're having 24, you got to make 12. It
I
shows
think a lot
dedication.
of other appendant bodies should adopt something like that. Like, does Shriners? I'm not a Shriner, so I don't know. Do Shriners have a minimum Blue Lodge requirements? I would love to
Mm.
see that. I
No,
think that would help.
they just
I
say
think our
show
Blue
up and have
Lodges need
fun.
need that help. Yeah. Well, I love that.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. I think anything that so let me argue both sides, and I don't believe in one side of the argument. So
I love
the
this.
appendant bodies need need to do a better job supporting the Blue Lodge, because without the Blue Lodge right now, the appendant bodies aren't there. Now, the appendant bodies, let me go on their side. They're going to
Here we
say,
go.
"Hey, I have a widget, but I need your widget to make my widget work. So we've got to figure out a way together that we can complement one another. So if my business model is dependent on this widget, I'm doing every damn thing I can to make sure that widget is moving. And sometimes
Right.
that's reinforcing Blue Lodge. So when dependent bodies want to play victim, I say, hold on. But when Blue Lodges want to play victim, because sometimes we do that, it's like, hold on, what are we doing to support them? So I think
Correct.
I think we have to have the real conversations, and we don't do that enough.
Right. Yeah, I was getting ready to say the devil's advocate on that. I love that point because we just say with the Widow Sons or the Shriners or Scottish Rite. Those are the carrots. That's what hangs out in the open for everyone to see, and everyone's like, "Ooh, what is that? Ooh, what's that? Ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy." Now you got to take those pieces of candy and make sure they turn into more pieces of candy from your lodge, which grows your independent body, because your independent bodies now has that person that is in that independent body plus the Blue Lodge. Now you're there twice. So I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, yeah, and the thing about that is the cool thing about Masonry, whether you're going to go into Blue Lodge and be an officer and work through the chairs, I don't care about that. That's your
Right.
foundation. The cool thing about Masonry that separates us from Rotarians and Rotary and I'm sorry, Lions Club and all of those other things is we have so many avenues that you can go and do something. Right now,
Mhm.
some people say, "Well, what?" So I want to come in and go right to be a Shriner. I think that's great. But you can't forget where you come from, because the core values that when
Mhm.
we say you can come to the Shrine Center and bring your spouse and not have to worry about anything because we're Masons, well, that didn't come in the Shrine. That came in the Blue Lodge. And I
Correct.
think that if you're considered a Shrine guy, take your butt do this. Take your butt to lodge once a quarter. Start there to kind of remind yourself where you came from. I just think that we could all do better. And as a past master, I can have an excuse as much as the next guy because our lodge is so big and so flourishing that they've got it handled. But sometimes I need to be reminded that
Mhm.
Blue Lodge is when the noise of the world is going on. I can go into Blue Lodge and it stops all the noise. All of the bullshit is left at the door. And that's what Lodge is about. It's not about listening to minutes and paying bills. It's about shutting out the nonsense to
Yep.
me.
Cutting out the nonsense, listening to brothers, talking to brothers in lodge. Sometimes I excuse me, I'm a past master twice in my lodge. First go around, we had a lot of gentlemen in the lodge that were a little more old school, and it was like, and then gavel, and it was like, okay. If anyone tried to talk, some of the old past masters were like, hey, and it's like, no, 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 let some of that conversation happen. Like, that's why we're hitting. That's why we're sitting here. We're here to have that conversation. And even though it may not be important to what you guys were discussing at that moment, let a little of that chit chat happen, because that's just your lodge flourishing. That's your lodge growing. That's that organism that's just jellyfishing at the moment, in a lack of better words. Let it happen. Don't gavel it down. Now, if starts getting sidetracked and everybody gets off to the side, okay, yeah, yeah, and you need to get back on track, sure. But a lot of the guys get in there and they're just like, oh, I gotta be home by 8:30. Then what was the point of showing up? Like, you show up to the lodge to have lodge and to enjoy your brethren and to better the brethren in there. How can you better that brethren? You don't know if he's mentally okay today. You don't know if he's just had a fantastic day. And like Brother Skittles, and I'm hoping in like the next 2 or 3 weeks, I'm about to hear this guy go, "I'm having a baby." Yay,
Mhm.
yay, yay, yay. That's something you want to yell in your lodge, but if you that's something you don't get to share until they go to the order. And so just throwing that out there.
Well, how do you put a time limit on fellowship, on brotherhood? I understand if you say, "Hey, my goal is to be home by 9, honey." But my wife would understand if I got home at 10 and if I got into an engaging conversation last night, I went to lodge and I had Masonic Ed last night. Okay.
Mhm.
Lodge, we gabbled down at 8:30. I got home at 10:45 and that lodge is about 15 minutes from my house. But it was just organic talking and fellowship. We had a guy from Scotland in and it was just that's masonry. That's
Yep.
masonry.
I was gonna say my wife is the same with you. Like I can go to lodge 7:30. We eat at 6:30. Every lodge meeting doesn't matter. Lodge is normally done about 8:30, but we're out of there about 9:30, 10 o'clock is when we're finally all pulling out of the parking lot. We're all doing what Skittles calls the Midwest goodbye. We say goodbye 30 times in
Yes.
groups until one leaves the group, then another one leaves the group, another one leaves the group. But I have a small lodge. I'm in a rural lodge, and I think we have 37 on our books, and we have an active like 7, and we have an active 12 when the summer and warmth is here. Because when they're snowbirds, not gonna lie,
Yeah.
they disappear. So
Yeah.
we go down to about seven people. Um, but we have like 3 EAs, 2 fellow crafts sitting there learning the degrees, and we're an old royal town. So it definitely, the more light you put out, the better it brings it back in. Um, what was your lodge name and number, if you don't mind? I know you were talking
Albert
about your lodge.
Yeah, yeah. Albert Pike Lodge number 303 in Wichita. We were once the largest in the world. We we have to go back to our books and confirm, but I think at the high point we were around 8,000 members. And there's a story
Nice.
why we had
Wow.
8,000 members in our lodge, and there were 9 other lodges in our MSA. We're not the only one in town.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, and then, I can't remember when I was in the East, maybe we had 12 or 1,500 at the time, and so it's a lot. You're managing a small corporation, and we have not only a
Right.
secretary, but we have a paid employee that's a
Right.
secretary.
Trustees and
No, we
everything.
have our trustees that are Masons, but we have an actual employee that's not a Mason that does secretarial work and answers the phone during the day, and at one time
Wow.
when we were really busy, it was a really big salary, and they were provided a company car from our lodge because
Uh,
it was such a huge undertaking.
wow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's kind of like a grand lodge of mini grand lodge, pretty much.
Yeah, what's funny in Kansas, they refer to us as the Grand Lodge of Pike because, we just, lots of big personalities.
Right.
We put more grandmasters in out of that lodge than any other lodge, more potentates, but it's sheer numbers thing, right? And
Right.
so it would
Right.
make sense to do that if you have that many. But
Right.
yeah, but yeah, it's being that size of a lodge and being known. That lodge always has had a target on its back, which we embraced. So that means you're watching. But the other side of it is it made sure we did things right because everybody was looking for us to make a mistake, much like
Yep.
how sometimes people probably treat the widow's sons. So,
Yep.
it's the bike masons. And so you're like, all right, we're
Mhm.
going to have fun, but everybody's watching us. They're just one minor thing. We can do 1,000 great things, but we do one thing and they're going to be all up in our Kool-Aid. That's how we
Yep.
treated Pike.
Yeah, I was gonna say we talk about that on our podcast a lot about how when you put your vest on, it's not you anymore. You're carrying that across all independent bodies, not just one, not just our house. We put that across everybody's house because we're all Masons. We're
Yep,
all Masons
absolutely.
first. So that's you we all have to remember that's where that light is shining from. So just remember, doesn't matter if you put the hat on, doesn't matter if you put the cut on, doesn't matter if you put the t-shirt on, whatever it is that is your club, what makes you draw more men in, lack of better words, make it be shiny. Make it be the shiniest thing you own. Making sure that no one scratches it. It's your new car that like literally you vacuum it every single day. There's no crumbs. That's how you should present yourself for Freemasonry. 100%.
Yep. Yeah. You need to treat it as if you were wearing those, not a Marine, but if you were wearing that beautiful dress blue Marine uniform, how would you act if you were wearing that uniform? That's how you should act when you've got the badge of a Mason, whether it's a cut, an apron, rocking the square and compasses, whatever it is, you're rocking the brand and you're representing all of us.
100%. Factuals. I love this podcast so far. So you said you were master. You said you were a master in 2015. How old were you when you were in 2015? Not necessarily. Yeah, I know. I'll go throw you some math there. I'm not trying to throw you out.
Yeah. Over 40.
Over
So
40.
yeah,
Okay.
there's a lot of
Okay.
graying. So, and
Well,
yeah, I
buddy,
just did a
look, I'm
dude,
working on that
it's
gray myself, bro.
all
Okay. All right, you got it coming down here. I still got the brown on the side, so we're not too far away.
Yeah, so my
Man, I got
Masonic
excited
Ethics
when I saw my
line,
first gray hair.
I'm just happy that I got some on top and it's not running totally backwards on me yet.
Yes,
So
sir.
that thing can be white as snow as long as it's got a color and it's not skin. I'm good. I'm good.
Factual.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's awesome. Well, I'm glad Freemasonry found you. I'm glad that you love to talk about Freemasonry and how like I love watching your podcast and listen to your podcast. Um, Random question: how did you come up with your podcast, or just what inspired you to decide that I'm opening a podcast? Because me and Skittles come to me and was just like, hey, do you want to start a podcast? And I'm like, sure, I'll talk with it. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. So it's that question's really easy to answer. So going back to the size of our lodge is so big that we had members of our lodge that people didn't even know were members, and they were some affluent people through the community through the years. For example, you've all heard of
Great
White
idea.
Castle, right? You've heard of White Castle.
Yeah.
A past master of our lodge founded White Castle, Walter Anderson, in Wichita. So
No shit.
people didn't know that. So yeah. So, but that's like a superstar story. But we've got, attorneys and just great bike builders, Coleman of Coleman Coolers and Big Dog Motorcycles and all of these things.
Yeah.
I decided to do a thing called Pike Profile. Okay. And it was a 1-minute deal in our library where I would bring guys in and say, why'd you join Masonry? Who you are? What do you do? And it was a 1 to 1.5 minute thing. And I would have it thrown up on our social media. And that thing is so silly and raw and organic. It took off. It just took off like nobody's business. Some of the dumbest things, the simplest things are the best, really, right? So it just took off. Well, then a couple of the past masters, we were sitting around. It's like, man, we've got a couple of past masters that just died. And it's like, man, there's some stories that haven't been told yet. So it started with, you know what? We're gonna make a little catalog and we're gonna start let them tell their stories. And then we were sitting around drinking scotch or old fashions or something and said, you know what? Everyone's talking about these podcast things right now. And it was, and this is our 3rd year doing it. Let's try something. And let me just tell you, our first 3 cameras all up on her face. It's dog shit. It's terrible, but people liked it. And it was raw and unedited. The only thing we edited was the beginning. So you didn't see it touch the camera, and at the end. And really, if you look at our podcast now, other than like the clips we do, the Opus clips that stack, we don't edit. That's not our thing. Now, I don't like them to be on ours more than 45 minutes. So they'll edit them down and they might speed it up or clip out a lot of hums or oh yeahs to get it in a sweet spot. But we don't edit unless I know our editors have taken out 2 And we've done so many, so good luck guessing, and I'd never sell those people out. But if they say something they shouldn't have, they didn't give any
Yes.
Masonic secrets. But if they say something, we'll protect our brothers, and we'll make sure that clip disappears. No big deal. We can do what we want.
Amen.
That's what brothers.
Right.
Amen. Good for
100%.
you.
I
But
was
yes, that's how it started. It started as just kind of identifying, sharing with our members who we are, to wanting to save stories of some of our men that were passing and dying, to an evolution of a lot of episodes banked, over 700 banked right now. So just
nice.
stupid.
Nice. I was gonna say you hit on some key points that me and Skittles are trying to drive on our podcast. Is just the community be able to openly speak about Freemasonry. Yes, there are public people that watch that aren't Freemasonry. We understand that. We know that there's going to be comments on there, and they're going to be good. They're going to be bad. We want to talk about all. This is an open space to be able to talk freely. There are going to be some veils that are maybe partially lifted, but not enough that anybody that can't read on the internet that can find it. So if you have like concerns or questions, reach out to us. We'll have conversations with you, because we're not here to make anybody to feel mad or pissed off at us. We're literally here just as community, to have a community of Masonic talk, and just what you said earlier, where it started in your lodge, of being able to save that one moment. We like to bring guests on here so that way in the future we can go back and go, hey, we had a brother that passed away. We have this information. He was on my podcast for almost an hour. What do you want? What kind of segment do you want me to show of the light that how he got his story, where he came from? And that's what we try to do on our podcast. We try to drive that home for every guest that comes on. And I really appreciate you coming on our podcast. I love your story so far, and I'm excited to see where your story goes from here. Like, awesome.
Yeah, you guys are so consistent with your brand and how you kind of walk it through. It's very organic, and we all. I think all of the Masonic podcasts that are out there, we're really running different lanes, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Sticks are a little bit different. The essence of it is the same, right? Is telling a story and getting it out. But your guys is so organic that it's just, you're sitting there like, when I've watched episodes, I'm sitting there, I'm like, I just feel like I'm in the room with like three guys who are just chopping it up. And that's the vibe that it puts off. And that's what I like about your podcast that I don't really like about how ours is set up now, because it's very structured and interviewee like. And this flow is much more organic, and it's a long way of saying I love what you do. It's believe it or not, it's a compliment, but I love the organicness of it. I think it's
Appreciate
well
it.
received. Yeah.
We definitely appreciate
you.
it. We love watching your podcast as well. They're definitely, I like how you get into some of those controversy stuff, and kind of try to draw those, hey, let's talk about these lines, and like let's not try to hide that, because that's stuff we do need to talk about, because you talk about like the good stuff, and sometimes people don't think it's good, but it's we have to talk about it, because if we forget it and we don't talk about it and we don't share it, then how can we go, well, I didn't know that?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And
Well,
if you think something's going on in Illinois that it won't make it to Kansas or Kentucky, boys, it'll be there before you know it, because at these conferences of Grand Masters, they all meet together, and good or bad or indifferent, stories and notes are shared. And thank goodness I have very supportive Grand Lodge officers and lines. I can assure you that they have received calls from other Grand Masters when I have challenged them about the way that they don't let a brother in lodge because of the color of his skin, or all of these other things. Because to me, silence is compliance. And if your Masonic lodge does that, it goes back to our cut. If your Masonic lodge does that, and I don't say anything, that means you think that I'm down with that, and I'm not down with BS under the veil of Masonry. I'm not cool with it, and I don't care. I mean, I'll die on that sword, fall on the sword, die in the hill. That's just, we have to protect the brand. And I don't care who it is who is out of pocket. We have to check each other as brothers. At the end of the
Correct.
day, a master of a state is a brother. You're never more than a master mason if you'll remember your charge.
Correct. We all put our pants on the same way. We just chose, even as I guess when I was a master, it was always my first year. Learning is always hard the first year, so I'm always kind of glad that I got a second year because it kind of gave me, oh, okay. For me, it was the humbleness of I'm standing in a lodge. I think I'm 42 now, so in like 2016, yeah, somewhere in my 30s. I was standing in front of my lodge, and my average age in my lodge at that time was 70 plus. Like, so I'm the young guy. I'm by 30 plus years, and I'm standing in front of all these gentlemen, and they're looking up to me for light. So I'm humbled in myself, trying to just stand here and be like, okay, how do I lead these gentlemen that are supposed to be leading me? But they gave me that information coming into lodge. Those gentlemen gathered around me and gave that in the state of Kentucky, it is long form to learn. So you in my lodge, to be honest with you, you do not progress. You could stay there for years until you learn your ritual. So that puts in the effort of the man wanting to move forwards, as we were talking in our last podcast, momentum of moving forwards. If he doesn't have that, we're going to kind of get stuck in that rut, and that's part of Freemasonry.
What's interesting, that's a lesson that when you came into Freemasonry, you weren't expecting to learn, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing that I'm asked at times, like, what's the thing you learn most about Freemasonry? Well, for years, I haven't had a W-2 since 1997, so I'm used to doing my own damn thing,
Right.
And what this did, I'm used to working with hiring high performers and doing this and just having just a high caliber of folks. So when I went to lodge, I'm sitting there, I'm like, well, if they're not doing that, why don't we just bounce them out? What becoming a master of the lodge did, forget being a mason, what the being a master did for me, it taught me patience and understanding, because managing volunteers is way harder than owning businesses and being the boss, because you have to manage them, by be inspirational. You have to actually be a leader, not a dictator. And that's the thing that masonry gave me, that it wasn't even on my radar. I thought I was a leader until I became masonry, and then they taught me how to be a better.
100%. I will agree with you on that 100%, hands down, because as master, it was the humbleness, and like just the being able to lead, and like that just I'm coming in. I teach 7U softball for girls. I lead the same way with the positivity. If I come in as a dictator, if I were to do the same thing in your lodge, you're going to shut your lodge down, and it's going to kill generational lines for years. So don't be a dictator. Like he says, make that positive, even sitting as a past master sitting on the side. We've had this in our podcast before, talking about don't be that grumpy old guy sitting on the side trying to bring the lodge down. We're supposed to peace and harmony prevailing. So a lot forget about the obligations we take. In Kentucky, our lodge does reobligation night, and we do it once a year.
Love it.
In the district, we do it district wide, and each lodge in the district will get 1, 2, and 3, and that lodge will be the master and present it. So each lodge gets involved. So it just gets more lodges, more gentlemen in, and everybody stands on the appropriate sides and does their business. And it's fantastic.
It's beautiful. It's
So
a beautiful thing.
Reminder.
Yeah.
It's a good reminder. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say, that's one thing that me and Brother Skittles does in our Widow Sons. We have an obligation in our 4th degree, and we make sure we're on the other side and given that same obligation every single time we hear it.
Yes.
Just to
make sure people
to
know
put it in the brain.
It. Yeah.
Remember it. I want to know it, because I know all the degrees, EA, FC, and MM, because I volunteered for my lodge. I was like, yep, I'll do it. And I was a newly Mason, so I came through those degrees. So they're like, hey, yeah, you go do that. I'm like, oh, of course, of course. And now I love doing it just for the pure and simple fact, being master, I've had that leading experience. So I'm not standing there feeling like, oh man, oh man. I have that humbleness of knowing that they're not judging. They're standing there. They may not even remember any of the words, but that's them to get themselves acquainted with it again and kind of drive home
I love it.
the points
I
of
love
why
it.
we're standing there.
It is awesome.
Yeah. And for me as a new Mason, so Gilligan brought me into Freemasonry. So I came in under Kentucky Lodge. One of the first things that I did that I was able to give back to Freemasonry was I led um, our lodge in the rededication night. So I got to lead the brothers in doing the obligation. And in Kentucky, it's long form. There's no such thing as short form. I don't know what you have in your jurisdiction there, brother, but so it was a bit of a mouthful, but it was kind of the first thing that I was able to place myself in front of the lodge and give back to them. And it was very humbling. And I don't know. I think it's a really good thing to do and try to bring that into Illinois as well, and I suggest it to other lodges and jurisdictions.
I
Hmm.
think it's awesome. I think, above anything else, not only is it the refresher of remembering the words are such a small part of it. It's remembering what really are your lessons. Sometimes we have to be, as parents, as a parent, sometimes you have to say, listen, I know you already know this, but boom, 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 boom. That's what I think that re-obligation night does. I'm sitting here. I love it. I think it's fire, man. I love it.
Nice, nice. Thank you, thank you. I was going to ask you, in your lodges, do you see technology coming more prevalent in your lodge now from when you were from in 2009? Does your lodge use technology? I see that you said you all use that little podcast since you are a bigger lodge. Do you have any thoughts on that for some of the lodges that are thinking about trying to create a Facebook, even just a Facebook lodge? Like, because I know my Pleasureville Lodge, because we use that because a lot of the older people are into that now, where they can communicate and kind of understand that. You have anything on that for the lodges?
Yeah, I think it's real simple. I think there's two levels of it. We'll go into the lodge room. For our particular lodge, we use technology inside of the lodge. We have, I think there's four of them that there's 65-inch screen TVs surrounded in the corners because we're going to do more Masonic Ed via Zoom. So we can bring people all over the world in. So that's a way to bring technology into your lodge. You know what you do? You got Masonic Ed. People are worried about a tiled session. Damn, put it at ease. You put it at
Mhm.
ease and you bring in Masonic Ed. And so our lodge, it's genius, right? Our secretary came up with this. I put him, he was the youngest guy that had been put on a line in a long time at Pike, and I put him on when I was master. He ended up being an unbelievable master, and he's our secretary now, and he'll be a grand master one day. He's just a superhuman.
So he's
But
secretary for life.
yeah, until he's grand. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, because he's young. I mean, I think he's just now like 32 or 33. He's a pup. And
That's Skittles' age, by the way.
yeah, I know. I have kids that age. We had that conversation.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Gotcha. But
yeah.
Millennials coming
So
into Freemasonry. Look out.
so let me just tell you on the millennials. Every
Yeah.
generation has different generational communication, right? And I know the millennials, it's really easy to kind of say, oh, they do this. And there's pockets of bad people in generations, and not bad people, just bums, right? But the
bums.
millennials, I have millennial children, and the thing about millennials, they don't like being called millennials because it's got the negative stigma. So they're working a little bit harder now. All of a sudden, these millennials, they're like, all right, you want to call me that? Let me show you something. And what we have done by almost talking down to the millennials, we have empowered them and supercharged them. I love it. I hate that we had to get there to get it to be there. I love
Yeah.
what they do, what they bring to the table, because they're, every generation has quirkiness, right? But they're not afraid to take some risks. And I think in a fraternity where we're going a different direction, we almost have to take a few more risks.
Mhm.
And I think that's what
Yeah.
the millennials bring. I love it about the millennials, but the other side to the question on technology is this: if a lodge or a grand lodge doesn't have a minimum of a Facebook page, you might as well shut shop up, because if you're not on mobile right now, you're done.
Yeah.
Now, if you've got a bad website, you better shut the website down. You better have a good one or nothing at all, right? But you need the social media for social proof. It's a term that's used in the world now, but that's a good. And the other side of it is, it's a really easy, free, cheap way to promote what you're doing and run podcast. I mean, you and I, your guys' channel, this channel, we run so much of our stuff is fed initially out through social media that crawls it other directions. And I can't imagine, if we didn't launch our platform using social media, we would not
Yep.
have near the reach. No,
No.
I'll debate anyone on that, right? We know our metrics, right? I get the printout and I can tell you what our KPIs are.
Right. Right. 100%. And do you think a Zoom meeting could be tiled enough to have a lodge meeting? Like, say you had some brothers that are like snowed in, that type of stuff. Because I know some lodges are like, oh no, you said a meeting, you had open media while we're in the middle of a lodge meeting, or maybe even like a degree work. Maybe you have an old gentleman that
Mm.
hasn't been able to come to lodge, but maybe nails that spot every single time. Could you put that brother propped up in a seat and let him speak his part? Just asking.
Well, let me tell you what's in the works right now. Ex Libris Lodge in London. The guy that's the master of that lodge, he owns the Square magazine. People may have seen the Square magazine. So I interviewed him. He'll release sometime in April. They are they're about 3 months in, about 12 months out. They are testing VR right now for lodges, where you can set
Whoa.
you can set in your lodge room and be sitting in a lodge in Montenegro. And so, from the security aspect, he says passwords, those are analog. The technology that they use now is what they use for blockchain. It's a 256 encryption, 32 character. What you use for like my cold wallet, like for my crypto, those have never been hacked. You're not hacking those. So that's going to be the technology for security. And
Nice.
so it's coming, and there will be people that will have issue with it. D- Am I there for degree work? I don't know yet. Let me be an old
Okay.
man. Let me push that
Okay.
to the side. But
Okay.
am I
Okay.
there for lodge? 100%, because older gentlemen, folks that travel, and what a way, if I'm in a hotel in LA and I don't want to get out and I've got Uber Eats that just dropped off, but I want to be in lodge, I can slap on my damn VR headset or go into Zoom or whatever technology is going to be there in the next 3 to 5 years, and I can bond with my brothers. I can hear what's
Yep.
going on. So
You
it's
talk.
coming. Yeah, it's coming, and the security is, our guest said, anybody that talks about security being an issue, it's a non-starter, because it's not an issue because of the
Right.
256
Very good.
encryption that.
Nice. Nice. I was gonna say, in y'all's Grand Lodge, bringing up like voting and stuff, because I was thinking of how like in a meeting, if you had to vote or something through your VR, there was possible ways of having that happen. Because I know I watched my Grand Lodge go from manual counts to digital counts to click buttons. So I was going to ask if y'all states did click buttons, but I can already tell by you over here, like, hell yeah, click it, click it, click it, click it. What about Illinois? Illinois on that click it yet, or are they still old school ballots?
Oh, brother, ballots. We, have our little things and we like raise our hands up and they go like, well, it looks like it's definitely this way, so we'll go with it. Or if it looks like it's
Okay,
50-50, then we'll sit there and turn them in.
Exactly.
So
hand count.
Illinois
Okay,
ballots.
all
Yeah, we're
right, all right,
balanced
all right.
still.
Well, catch up, catch up. Just kidding.
Hey, if we can't catch up, then we'll mustard.
It reminds me of that joke from Pulp Fiction. There was a mama tomato, daddy tomato, mama tomato, and baby tomato. Baby tomato was falling behind. Daddy tomato jumped back, smashed baby tomato, and said, "Catch up."
Oh
my God, that's a dad joke. That's a U7 softball dad joke.
Yes, but it was in Pulp Fiction. It was in a
Oh my God,
movie.
that's old.
Hey, John Travolta. But
Yeah, that's old.
love. My brain loves to remember stupid shit, and that just happened to be one of them stupid
That's just
shits.
what we
Boys.
do, man. As an
I love that.
ADHD kid, I have all of those things just popping off all the time.
I love that.
So I love that your lodge is technology, and your lodge is embracing it. Because I am from an older lodge, so some of the older gentlemen don't understand it. But they do understand that the lodge has to grow because we have younger men coming in. So we have a Facebook, that type of stuff, and we do communicate through it. Like if we're going to have a lodge, or if we're having fish fries, or whatever we do for communication, we do use that. So I'm gonna one thing we like to do on our podcast with all of our members, we like to trap them in an elevator. I'm gonna trap you in an elevator. I'm gonna trap you there for a minute. I noticed that you had a square and compass on your hat, and I do believe by looking, it's a past master's hat, correct?
It is. It is.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
Good old
I don't.
Mason shop.
There we go.
Okay.
I was gonna
I
say,
love that.
all right. I was gonna say, I don't know it's a past master because I'm just a general public. But tell me about Freemason, there, buddy. Tell me why. Tell me. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So my elevator pitch, when I'm asked, and it's usually a ring and a shirt, some sort of regalia, is simple. Masonry is the original bro code, and your friends, your family, they have to treat you and act a certain way. Your friends will lie to you to maintain a friendship. Your brothers will not, because you're brothers. And the thing about the men that join Freemasonry, we are all flawed. We're all trying to be better humans. And what better way to become a better human than to be in a group of men that know that they're flawed? We've all learned the same thing, but we're there rooting each other on. When you go inside the door of the lodge, you can be of any vocation, any background, any religion, because once you go in the lodge, it doesn't matter. And I would say to the person, I know it sounds kind of bullshit, but really, when you go in, that nonsense is gone. And the camaraderie that I had in the military that I thought would never be matched, I think it's been trumped by Masonry and then some, because as I'm older and more mature, and I'm not the 18 to 20 some year old kid. As an adult, I'm able to learn from young and old, and they're able to learn from young and old. So if you're looking to truly become a better human, father, parent, employer, neighbor, give Masonry a shot. Just really give it a shot, and you won't be disappointed. That's my spill. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
I would give
Yeah.
that a 10 out of 10. That's definitely 10 out of 10, brother.
Solid 7.5, So
All right. I would definitely be definitely interested. I'd be like, all right, tell me more.
you just got to real
but I
talk
do,
people.
yeah, I do love that you said flawed multiple times, because we had our last podcast was talking about breaking down good men better, and I had a section in there of like, can you be a felon from the past and join Freemasonry depending on your state, if you can or you cannot. Does that make you a bad person? No, it doesn't. Just depends on the situation you were put in sometimes. I mean, because good men to pursuit of happiness will make a bad decision if you're put in the wrong like if you put me in a situation where I have to choose you or my family in a bad situation, I'm going to choose my family. And if I
No
have to do
hesitation.
no hesitations, if I have to do something to take care of my family or a brother, I'm going to do that because that's part of my obligation. And it's not an obligation that I made to myself. It's an obligation that I made to everyone else. So joining Freemasonry is that same obligation. It's not that obligation to yourself, even though it is, but it's an obligation to everyone else standing in that same room. So,
Well, and what the new people don't know coming in is we've already made promises to them, and they haven't even joined yet. We've already made promises to them that they don't even know about. I could go deeper and really kind of push my luck on the obligation, but I dare not. But we've already already made a promise to anybody that's interested in come in. I've already made a promise to you. I got you, and I don't break my promises.
Correct. And that's one thing.
Wow,
That's
I
one
like
thing
that.
I like. I love about Freemasonry. You bring that point up is that I, I make a promise and I'm going to fulfill that. I I met Skittles and a job. We were going to go fisticuffs. Like we hated each other because we were in a profession that we fight over hours as mechanics. So it was just one of those ones like no. Now here we are 10 years later. Like I call him before I can call my brother, and he lives 4.5 hours away from me. And I
Crazy, isn't
know
it?
that it is crazy. I know that I
It's
can
crazy.
call him no matter what. And I know I can call brothers from other states that I know, and I can be like, hey, I'm stuck on the side of the road right here. Do you know someone in this area? And they're going to go, "Boop. Yes, I do. Let me help you out."
That's
So,
where people think we're cultish because they're like, you got three guys sitting here talking on a podcast like they've known each other 100
Oh,
years. They're real talking to each other. Or you've got an 18-year-old and a 118-year-old. They lived in two different worlds and they're chopping it up. It must be their brainwashing. No, it's masonry. We have pushed all the BS aside, and we are now, because we're trying to make good men better, we don't care about. We're not trying to make a good mechanic better. We're not trying to make a good figure better. It's the men. So we push once you push all the noise to the side, it's man to man. Let's be brothers. And that's it's as dudes, we overcomplicate things. Masonry, as long as you don't get egos in the way, it's a really simple process. We have one goal to help each other be the best version of ourselves. And it's
mhm.
really simple, but we let egos and titles and dudes get in the way. And it's such a simple thing. It's beautiful.
Man, I preach about this. You bring some points up while you're speaking because I say the same thing about egos, being humble. Like you're putting that position not to be, hey, I got this flashy flash here, or I got this nice little thing on my vest, or I'm wearing this nice little Shriner's hat and I'm the potentate. No, it's
Right.
what how can I be a servant for you? What
Right.
can
hmm
I do to serve you? How can I help you? Being secretary of your lodge is like most important because you and the master, if y'all don't have a camaraderie with each other and you can't serve each other, your lodge is gonna fail, or your organization or whatever you're out there as you're listening to. It doesn't matter. You got to have that.
You know, the interesting thing, anybody's watched like our podcast, I have my wife calls it big D energy. You just know when
Hmm.
I'm in a room, and I have a big ego and I'm good with all that. But when it counts, when it comes to serving, no, there's nobody that I've ever worked with in real life or masonry that doesn't say Bird is a team player. In fact, he'd prefer to be behind the scenes 90% of the time and help us go. And that's what you should do. You can have big, if you're listening, you're like, oh, I can't join masonry. I got a big ego. No, we want that charisma. We want that swagger. We want that big D energy. We want all of that. But you have to be able to temper it. That's
Hmm.
it. We want that
Hmm.
energy.
Right. I tell you what, I was watching a podcast or a short earlier today, and it was about a prospect, and it was about being, and it comes down to being like in Blue Lodge, the same if you want to call it coming in as an inner apprentice. What you were just talking about, that inner apprentice energy, you come in with that fire, and
Man.
then most guys get to the end and they don't keep stoking that fire. They just let it smolder. And then one day they find something in the lodge or they find something else and it starts stoking that fire for them again. Hopefully it's some of our podcasts that may stoke that fire because we start talking that controversial stuff that gets us to that fire. But take that energy that you had as an inner apprentice or as a prospect or whatever you want to call it. Take that energy and carry it through, just like you said. Learn how to subdue your passions through that, but keep that energy all the way through still today. That's why I love doing this podcast because I get to have that energy and I get to talk about it and I love debating it. So come debate all the time. I love that you said the devil's advocate. Just let's have a good
Yeah.
conversation about it.
You have to. That's the only way we improve the fraternity, because I don't think we had enough, in the 50s and 60s when we started to decline and really when we
Hmm.
started losing the track. I know those men didn't have those real conversations. They let complacency take over, and that's why we were really kind of in the direction we are. Now, I'm a quality guy. I think quality fixes your
Quality, not quantity.
quality fixes quantity always. But we still have to have an image that is appealing to quality. And quality is not money. When people they say quality is not money. Quality is character. You can, I don't care what you make. You can roll lots of commas or not so many, but quality is the individual. And I will take quality men around a bunch of quantity, because you give me a couple of quality guys, I can build an army.
100%. I do that in my daily profession. I work on cars for a living. I get a group of guys. My boss calls it. He's like, "Those are your minions, aren't they?" I was like, "No, they're not mine. We're all equal. We all eat the same. Like legitimately, we all eat the same. They all know that I may be their boss, but we're equal. You know how much work we pump through that door? It's because we all are, we're equal. No one. If I tell someone to do, hey, this job, they don't care because we're equal. That's
Because they
same
know
in
you'll do it.
Freemasonry.
They know you'll do it.
Yes, yes, they know I will. If
Yeah.
they can't get it done, I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna do it. I don't care if it's the nastiest thing in the world.
It's got to get done. It's got to get done.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
thing about Freemasonry. Carry that momentum forwards, as we've talked in our previous podcast. It's definitely you got it. Got to keep it. Keep that fire. Keep putting the
Yeah.
fire in it. Give it
Yeah.
gas.
It's tough, when they're going through the EA and fellow craft become a master. They're the stars of the show for however long that takes. And where sometimes we miss with Masons is once they become a master Mason, especially in a larger lodge like us, and we're doing so much degree work, right? That's how you lose people. So they're,
Yes.
oh, I'd love to have this big lodge. It sounds sexy. It sounds fun. And there's all the money. You can do whatever you
Right.
want. There's curses too, because people get lost. And as much as you think that you're infallible, it just happens. You can only watch so many people. And when, you have a year when you raise, hold on to your seats, when you raise 85 Masons, people just get lost,
Yes.
right? They
Yes.
just get
Yeah. Oh yeah.
lost. But it's the reality of it. So the question is, okay, we lost people. What do we need to do to stop that next time? How do we do it? Do we
Mhm.
need to put more mentors in place? Do we need to assign battle buddies? What do we need to do? The
Right.
problem's not the problem. It's how do you not have that again? So you have to do a really good after action review and say, okay, it was good. Why? It was bad. Why? And really have the discussion if you want it to improve. Because sometimes if something fails, it's the the vision is great. The personnel were the wrong personnel, right?
Fair enough.
So
Fair enough.
you just have to have those real discussions like, we had the wrong guys in the wrong seats to do that job. They're great at this, but they are not public guys.
Right. Yeah,
It's just wrong.
everybody has a strong suit in their lodge. And you were saying you raised 85 people. You have to have 85 mentors that are strong, that are dedicated, that are there every single lodge meeting, and that's tough. So just if your lodges are smaller, take it down. If you got 7 guys that come through in a year, you got to have either one guy that is dedicated enough to take care of 7 people throughout the year, or a group of guys that are willing to put in the time to learn the work, to memorize the work. And then everybody says it's hard to memorize the work, buddy. There's been times that I go back to re-give the work, and I've forgotten the work. It
Yeah.
just happens. So it's
It's
not
reps,
something
man. It's repetitions. It's all reps.
correct. Correct. So
Yeah.
if you're not going to lodge, as we were talking in the beginning, not putting in that effort, you're not going to get it. It's going to fail for you, and you may have that bad experience with Freemasonry. You get that, you get it on your podcast, you get it on our podcast. People commenting on there. I had this bad experience with this, or I had a bad experience with the Sons. I had a bad experience with the Shriners, and it's all because of what they have put in, because they weren't looking for the right type of experience.
Well, and as volunteers, unfortunately, as volunteers, we have our bags packed. Sometimes we're looking for a reason to bounce. and just as the proverbial volunteer, and we have to be aware of that. Our situational awareness has to be of that, of like, huh, the read on Sean's a little off right now. We might want to catch him before this goes dark on us. Sean, what's up? I just noticed you're not vibing. I just feel left out. So, and if that's the case at Big Lodge, we have a couple of guys that are just assigned to greet people when they come in, because it's such a, when you have so many people coming in, the worst thing is to come to a lodge, in your own lodge, and you feel like nobody said hi to you. And
Or no one knows who you are.
Right. And something so simple, how would that feel to not feel at home at your home? That would suck. That would suck. And you know what? I hear the story all the time, and that is so easy to correct. You assign 1 or 2 people at the door, they're the greeters. You fix that problem like that.
That's a good idea. That's definitely a good idea. Even if you got a small lodge, one person, make it your Tyler. Make it your Tyler's job.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest with you, they're supposed to meet and greet everyone. Yeah. Stuart, yeah.
Or Deacon.
Well, I was going to say, we don't have Stuart. There you go. I was going to say, we don't have stewards. We're a smaller lodge. we can't fill all the chairs.
Yeah.
But good idea. Great idea. I'm gonna say, Skittles, you got anything over there? You've been quiet this podcast. We've been taking the show from you. I know you got so much shit over there. You can't get a word in. We're over here just chop. Shut up, guys. Let me speak.
Well, it literally fell in our lap. Like you, been a Mason a long time, I mean, at least 15 years when it first kind of fell into us. And this guy, and I'll say his name, sue me, buddy, I'm waiting for you. Weston Jarvis, he came on the podcast and came on, and he was very open. He kind of starts with, I'm a clandy, I'm super clandy. So he owned his clandestineness, whatever that is, right? So as we kind of get through, so as we kind of get through the episode, I have some questions about.
Yeah, of course. I'm gonna have a lot of questions.
I got tax status. Do your people know that they're not legit? All of these things. And he was not truthful. It's all on videos. So that happened. And so that opened it up. And then so when it released, so here's some stuff that some folks that have been following a long time know. So when it released, son had a problem, and we had some exchanges. And so on his original video, you'll see it. I blurred his face. I didn't have to do that. And in retrospect, I wish I didn't, because once you do it in YouTube, you can't take the blur back off. So whatever.
Right.
But he was a little whiny young man about this. And then, so we had some exchanges over that, conversations, and he made it personal. And that's fine. There's a lot of things you can do.
You don't go personal.
You go personal with me all you want, but there's certain things that are out of bounds, and I'm just going to leave it at that. And so when that released, all of a sudden, not only, and his words, not mine, is his goons weren't happy. The threat of 200 men rolling up, it's like, okay. All of these things. Yeah, all of this stuff. And then, but he was, I exposed that organization. I would put their 50 guys. I showed everyone how to look it up, how to look up a tax status. It's easy. It's irs.gov. It's really simple. How to look up
public knowledge.
Society. They do a great job. The Philaxis Society, working with Prince Hall, they have been fighting clandestine masonry since the early 1900s. There are documented court cases that these men have been fighting clandestine masonry. So the Philaxis Society, and they're constantly updating it in the United States. This is going to blow your mind. We all know each state has a Grand Lodge, and each state has a Prince Hall Grand Lodge. So for easy math for us, there's roughly 100 legit Grand Lodges in the United States. Play the game with me. As of like a week ago, there are 750 bogus Grand Lodges in the United States alone. 750 bogus Grand Lodges in the United States alone. Houston, where this fool is from, there are 45 bogus Grand Lodges in the city of Houston. The top 3 cities, I'll go states. The top 3 states with bogus Grand Lodges: Texas, Illinois, mainly the Chicago area, and New York. That it is deep. It is deep, deep, deep. So once that released, go ahead. So I have lots of speculation. Let me tell you what our guests say, who are former members, former leaders. I had a former recruiter. Some of these groups have recruiters that get paid. They get paid for Grand Lodges. Oh, there's a lot of money involved. And when members start asking about, hey, let me see the books, like what we would do in our lodge, right? Hey, something doesn't seem right about the books. You open the books. The same with our Grand Lodge. If I had a question in our Grand Lodge, I'd go up and I'll guarantee you our treasurer and our secretary open up the books.
Show you. Yeah.
It's what these guys, they don't like that. So these former members now are coming on. We have probably 50 more banked that we haven't released yet of former members, slow dripping them. But so let me tell you what I've learned. When I first came on, because I had such disdain for Jarvis, and because he begged, if you go to that podcast, he had been trying to get on podcasts, as he says, quote, for years. He gets on, he lies, gets caught, and then now he's a victim. Well, I don't like that kind of stuff anyway. But so I had such a disdain.
You said what you said. Either own it or don't.
Right. Or recant. He's still to this day. You have an opportunity to come on the platform and said, oh, I misstated. You can cover it up all you want. But so I had such a disdain for these groups, and I'm just boom, hammer. So the leaders, I will still blast the leaders all day. One leader, I know this guy follows me. We had an interaction in Los Angeles. He said, well, you're taller and bigger than I thought you were. And that didn't quite work the way that he thought it was going to work out in an airport. So here's the thing. The leaders of these organizations, I think, are awful. Mm-hmm. There are so many men, though, that have joined these groups that had no idea. And let me just tell you, if you go back, when I asked Jeeves and somebody called me, I could have easily have joined because I didn't know what's regular, what's irregular, who's your charter, where's your origin. I didn't know that. So I am sympathetic and empathetic to the members to a degree. But you now have this knowledge. Now, my thing is this. If you know you're bogus, right? And there's a difference between irregular, regular, clandestine, bogus. There's a whole tree of that. But if you're bogus, here's my thing. I don't care if you want to dress up like a schoolgirl and paddle each other on the butt. I don't care about that. Just don't call it Masonry. That's my only beef. If you're going to do that, don't do it under the guise of Masonry. Because we have had women that we've not only videoed now, we have written statement, we've deposed some women. Oh yeah, guys, if you're watching, we've already deposed. We're setting up for something gnarly coming at you. So these women have talked about the rapes and sexual in some of these organizations. So my problem is there is a group of people that think that these bogus people are real Masons. So there is an image of the world out there that's us. That is not us. We don't do that crap. And in fact, if we saw it, we would smash it in a second. So
correct. I'm telling you, I'm one of them dudes. If I saw someone, I don't care who you are or where you're from. If I see someone getting injustice, I'm standing up. I don't care. That's not happening in my vicinity, and I will take it to my life. Like 100%. If I'm protecting somebody, I will take it as far as my life.
And it's and people say it's not a right or a left thing. It's a do the right thing. It's not political thing. And I don't care the color of your skin. I don't care your political affiliation. If you do the right thing, I'm good with you. If you're out of pocket, I'm not quiet about anything to anyone. And it's just, I think that's a great value of the Masons. But to kind of go back to this, yeah, they brought it to us, and now it is a thing. I mean, it really is a thing that we've been tracking it. Our mods, I figured this question would get asked. We have tracked as of last week that we know of, that we've communicated and helped get into other Grand Lodges. This channel has accounted for 102 men getting out of clandestine into legit Grand Lodges.
Nice.
102 that we know of. That we know of. You know, there's
Nice.
people that may have just got out, right? But there's a thing called the sunk cost fallacy. Some of these men have been in so long and spent so much money that they say, well, there's no place else to go. Well, your foundation is terrible. Some of these men have paid anywhere between $700 and $15,000 to get their 33rd degree. It's a hustle.
What?
Yeah. It's been on our episodes. It's a hustle. And you know who loves these? Yeah. You know what? Who loves them? Etsy. Etsy and Kinko's loves them because they can print those things off left and right. Listen,
No shit.
it's terrifying me. It really is terrifying that men and women in these bogus groups have to go through this. But I don't back down. And I think they thought, like, man, this has been a year and a half, and I've had legit death threats. I've talked with the Texas Department of Public Safety. You know, I know the 4,000 Sunnyvale Crips. I know who you guys are. So we've had legit death threats.
Right.
But I mean, bro, I've lived a good life. I'm not a young kid anymore. Do what you got to do, man.
Right. Yeah. If you think that's gonna make it, any better, it's not. But it just
Actually, it will amplify that. Actually, I'm not. You know, I would prefer not that happen, but it would set off a wave.
right. I'm blown away that there's 600 more, like 650 more lodges of the. Well, if to our 100, so there's 650 more to our 100 lodges. That blows my mind. Like that absolutely blows my mind.
Well,
Yeah.
yes, but a lot of these Grand Lodges, this is what we found out in our researches. A lot of these Grand Lodges, they're like 12 people, 15 people. So they're really a bunch of
lodges. Okay.
Right. And so a lot of these guys are former Masons that have been expelled or kicked out and said, oh, I'll just go start my own thing. And even internally, when they have rifts, they just splinter off and do their own thing. It's a fascinating world, but it's terrifying because there are hardworking men and women that are just getting fleeced. Just absolutely amazing to me.
I think that happens in just kind of most all organizations. That happens. People like to take spinoffs. People will take spinoffs of podcasts. People like to create their own thing, or they just get pissed off because they were a victim and they want to go take their ball and play somewhere else, and they want to steal somebody else's.
Yeah.
I'm going to get mine. I'm going to show them. I'm going to take this, because there's clandestine things everywhere. I mean, I bet there's some in the Widow Sons. I bet there's some in the Shriners. There's things out there everywhere. People want what we have, but they can't have it because you have to work for it. You can't. I guess you can buy it if you're in those clandestines. If you really want to spend the money to buy it. I got my 32nd degree. I did spend some money, but I joined the Shriners and donated my money to join and have my membership, and that's it. That one-time fee. It's nuts. It's really nuts. That blows my mind that there's that
crazy.
many out there. But I do love the fact that y'all have 102 that has made the right decision. I was going to say our podcast does bring Masons into motorcycle foundation. Like we've got a lot of Masons in that way, and getting them out and enjoying into the same club with us. It's fantastic that this platform allows that to happen, and we get to share that information, because I had no idea that was that many clandestine lodges out there. That blows my mind.
So you guys probably get, when you guys are out and about, hey, I love your podcast. Let's get the selfie, all the stuff that we get. And you're hearing some that say, dude, I joined Masonry because of you. And I hear that. I love those stories. But let me tell you, I love more than that we took 102 men that were going down a different path, and we are giving them another opportunity to have a legit legacy. Because my pitch now is, what happens if you're in this bogus group and dad or granddad dies? Well, you know what? People can, oh, granddad was a Mason. They go and look up and they find out that you're BS. You're dead now, and you can no longer defend the legacy. Is that the legacy that you want to leave for your children and grandchildren? That's the problem to me. That's kind of my pitch now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely brings up a
Brother
lot of.
Brother Bird, did you coin the term Clandestine?
Clandestine, yes. I will tell you, Brother Fluff coined "It ain't dandy to be clandy."
It ain't dandy to be clandy.
I love that. I think that's incredible.
Yeah,
Make that
Clandestine is, yeah.
Make that a shirt.
Yeah.
Well, I will tell you, as a former business guy, Clandestine is trademarked by me.
Oh, clan.
Good for
Oh,
you,
nice.
brother. Good for you.
I was gonna say, make you some shirts, brother.
So, but we've never used it. But you know, I'm waiting for the other side of the world to use that, because I can't wait to nickel and dime them. So I got
I hear you.
I'm and a staff attorney. So
nice.
I love that.
Oh, brother, this has been a good podcast. We've been in this one for a while. I love. I let some of our podcasts just end in an hour. Some of our podcasts run longer. I love it. A good podcast. I love talking Masonry. I love that I got the moment to talk Freemasonry with you, even though I didn't know who you were, and I got to see your podcast and got to understand who you are and where you kind of came from, and then get to actually meet you in my podcast. I look forward to coming on your podcast because I have
boys.
Dude, I have so many more questions I want to ask you, but if I ask you more questions, we're going to be here for like 4 more hours. Guarantee it.
Yeah, I love it, guys. No, you guys, listen, love the platform. It's such a chill vibe. I just feel like the three of us are sitting somewhere smoking a cigar and having a drink, and we're just chopping it.
Yes,
and then Sean's watching the adults talk, and he can't get a word in edgewise.
I love it.
It happens sometimes. It happens sometimes. I love that. Like Sean is 10 years younger than me, but he's like he's my brother. Like I told you before, we came from a plot, and he's my brother. You're older than me. You're my brother now. Now that I met you, like
gotta say it out loud.
My bad, brother. My bad. So that's the thing I love about Freemasonry is we have this gap, and you were saying it in your lodge. You had the gentleman from White Castle that founded White Castle. We are just generations away from shaking George Washington's hand, standing in the same lodge, the same way. We're all standing erect as gentlemen, making good men better. And it's been the same way since.
I love it. Yep, I agree.
Do you have anything for us, Parker? You've been quiet all week. Man. You've been quiet on the podcast.
No, I appreciate it, man. I just love seeing. So, Brother Bird, this is the first time we've had another podcaster, a Masonic podcaster, onto our podcast, and it's really invigorating, and just I feel joyful that we're bringing 2 podcasts together. We're getting Freemasonry out. We're trying to spread the light, and it was really great talking to you offline, because we're sharing the same kind of ambitions, where it's like, hey, Freemasonry, like, let's talk about it. Because I know, like, within my family, I've got Masons that, man, we didn't know they were Masons until the funeral, right? And there's something humbling. I love that. I love hearing that story. But on the other hand of that, if Masonry is going to stay around and grow, I think adopting technology, whether that be AI or whether it just be a podcast, I think that is something that's really good and beautiful. And there's a lot of young men that are on social media, and let's go to them. And I appreciate you doing that with us. I appreciate you doing that on your platform. And so I really love that we're all trying to lead the charge on that together as brothers. So I just wanted to just say thank you, brother. I really appreciate you.
Thank you for the opportunity. And, as we collab through this stuff, again, we got the same goal, brothers. We got the same goal. We just want this thing to be around for our kids and grandkids.
Correct.
Yes,
we
sir.
want to put some history out. We want to make sure that we can keep the history of other brothers and be able to share that with their family years and years and years and years down the road. Because I want to know how this brother got here. Why are there so many men standing in this funeral room around my grandfather? Why are they all standing here? Why is there 500 people standing there right now? And they're going to be like, well, you should go watch a podcast. He was on it.
Yeah.
We are the new archives. We're the new archives. That's it.
Whoa. That's crazy.
Think about it.
You're right, brother. I love that. That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, I love it. Brother Gilligan, I know you've got something to say, to do to end this podcast. Bring us to a close, brother.
Bring us to a close. All right, gentlemen, you've heard on our podcast that tonight, you've heard us say it multiple times. Keep the fire, keep the momentum. Don't let people not necessarily stand in your way, because it is your journey, and always keep your light visible and clean. That's all I got for you, brothers. Clean and simple. Clean and simple.
All right, right on. Brother Bird, sign us off, brother.
Hey, thanks for watching Two Burning Tapers. Whether you're listening or watching, keep soaking up all of this Masonic information. Men, women, we're an open book. Thanks for listening.
Yep, and don't forget to check out the I'm gonna murder it. Say your podcast again.
Old Fashioned Podcast.
There you go.
Old Fashioned Masonic Podcast. I can't get competition to plug me at all, these guys. Right at the end.
Love it,
Great interview, brother. Great interview.